Today I've got to paint some of this C-channel. It's already in place. The original contractor did a really poor job, so I'm going to have to clean it up and paint it. And one of the issues with C-channel is trying to paint this back in here, because you have to kind of get back in here like this. And if you have a straight brush like this one, you'll notice it never quite gets in there. You see the air or the light in there through there? Yeah, it never quite gets back in here. I've actually used my finger to smooth paint on there. Yeah, you can do that for a while until your finger gets sore. I've used the tip of an old cotton glove and soaked it in there and done that. Not really good. What I found that works is just angling an old paintbrush, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do today, is make one of these. You can put it in here and you can stroke down there and you can see how nicely it fits to the curve. And this style is workable but not great. And I'm going to try a new technique today, making this, and we'll see how that goes. To make this style of paintbrush, it's pretty simple. First of all, I need to point out one of the most critical features is you notice that the angle goes backward a bit like this. You need to do that. It's not just 90 degrees. 90 degrees is better than nothing, but you want it to go backwards a little bit, and that will really help. So the first step is to remove the nails, which I've already done, but what I did is I just get something like this and pry up underneath here until the nail heads are up, and then you grab it with your needle nose pliers, pull them out. That's all four. Then you remove the handle, just simply like this. And I'm not going to do it on this one. I'll show you what I did on the others. I just simply, for the old style, I just simply crushed this with pliers and bent it to the shape I wanted, and then use these existing holes, put nails through there, from this side through here, and nailed it back to the head like this, and then use epoxy to hold it on. Let me show you the finished result of that. So here you can see one of the nail heads right there, and the other one's up there. It's hard to see. It's got some epoxy on it. And what I did is I used the existing holes in the head, in the brush head right there, those two holes, 1, 2, and I just used fine nails and drove it through all four of the holes. There's two holes, there's a pair of holes here and a pair of holes here, and nailed it back into the brush, and then I used epoxy to hold it in place. And this is the old style, if you will, of making this angled brush. So for the new construction technique, what I'm proposing is I'm going to cut this, probably use my angle grinder or something. I have tin snips. Cut this along this corner, if you will. It's not really a corner, but this edge right there, and then along right there. And then I'll take this, what will be a metal flap at this point, and I will bend it more than 90 degrees out this way. And then I'll take this side and also bend it and reinsert the wooden handle in there and re-nail it. Maybe use some epoxy, some tape, something like that to hold it in place. But I think overall it will be stronger than the old style. Okay, so let's go do that. Let's go make the cuts down here and see what happens. So here you can see where I've cut it. I originally cut just this. You can see that tab sticking out there. I went back and cut this because I neglected to take into account the angle of the brush. So I need the brush tipping up. You can see there's the angle to it. And so, yeah, it has to follow that angle. So I did that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece, wrap it around here this way. I left these tabs on here because I'm going to put some epoxy on there, fold it in there, and those tabs will help hold the handle to the brush with the aid of the epoxy. Okay, so let me go make those folds and I'll be back, and then we'll put on the epoxy and nails, and that should pretty much be it. So here we have the metal wrapped around there like that, and the next step is to apply the epoxy. So I'll just take the handle out, I'll apply epoxy in there, put the handle back, use some nails, and that should be it. So here's the second technique all finished. What I did is I just filled this with epoxy, pushed the handle in, added 2 nails here and 2 nails here, wrapped the metal around the handle and added some epoxy to cover the sharp edges, And that's it. This is very strong. So let's compare the two techniques. So this is the first technique, the one on the right, and the second technique is the one on the left. The one on the left is much stronger. However, it takes about 3 times as long to do, and it takes about twice as much epoxy. And it produces a much stronger result. This is much stronger than this. If I was going to produce a one of these from a cheap brush, a throwaway brush, I would use this technique, the first technique. It's adequate, it's not as strong. If I was going to use a multi-use brush, I would use the second technique. And then there's one more advantage. You can see here that with the second technique you get about a centimeter more clearance. So if you got a tight space and you need to get it in there, it's the second technique is better. Okay, well, I've got about 100 meters of C-channel to go paint. Wish me luck. Hope you found this useful and interesting in your home improvement projects.